Right, so this is a bit embarrassing. I've literally just recorded my entire trade recap, and just quickly watched the face cam bit and didn't put my mic on, so that the audio wasn't on there. So I'm gonna have to do it again. Okay, so as you can see, let's just get straight into it. So as you can see, today was pretty much a break-even day. Now I'll quickly show you this because we took a loss on Friday. Now to get through this was, I didn't get a chance to recap it on Friday. I ended up having a really busy weekend, so yeah, unfortunately didn't get a chance to do that. But for transparency, we took a loss, 530 across the 6 accounts. It was probably just over $3,000. It was a bad trade, really bad trade, probably one of the worst I've probably ever done, on certainly in a long time. But we took the loss. I got a bad feel on it. I didn't want to risk that much. It just ended up being a bad feel, and yeah, being worse than expected. So yeah, that's that one. Get that one out of the way. But unfortunately, I don't have the recap on that one. Then going in today, this is what happened. It was just above break even. We ended up getting stopped out, so we made just a little bit across 6 accounts. I think it was just above $400, so not much, but yeah, it was pretty much break even. Now going into today, there wasn't too much. I was just done the trade recap, obviously once already, but this isn't something I would usually want to trade. But what I was saying before was that when you've been looking at the markets day in, day out for a long time, for years, and I don't want to sound like the guy that thinks he knows, where price is going to go at certain times, and just by looking at it, because that's certainly not the case. But you definitely get some, what's the word? Some, idea, and there's some things that are repetitive and you see time and time again. And today was sort of one of those. This isn't a traditional trade I would personally take. It's a bit off my strategy, which I'm not really keen on doing, to be totally honest with you. But it didn't end up too bad for me today. If it had took a loss, I probably wouldn't be saying the same thing. But we didn't, so we can live with it for now. I know that this isn't something I would typically do, so I'm okay with it while I didn't lose today. Now, okay, so yeah, so I remember NASDAQ coming down instantly, come down, swept these these intermediate lows. Now, coming into session, I wanted London and Asia to be taken out. They were quite close to each other, and they were certainly close to each other on ES. Potentially, if they come down a bit lower on NASDAQ, could have created an SMT. But the SMT that was created was underneath these lows. So while NASDAQ made that big move down, ES didn't really do a lot. It was just sort of hovering around here. Now, this is very early into session. I didn't trade here. I traded about 20 minutes, 25 minutes into session, something like that. So my trade wasn't as early as it looks, but this was definitely a confluence I used. Now, I can't remember, because the trade, so I'm doing this the following day. The trade I took was actually yesterday. I can't remember, if to be completely honest with you. I think I just went down to the 1 minute. Now, where this high is here, this blue line that you can see that I've just hovered over, we broke structures, we created this SMT, we didn't go below these lows. Now, we broke above this high here, so this candle here, I'm trying to hover over, so I'll hover over that. So the candle to the right of that, the blue candle going up, that closed higher than this recent high, breaking structure to the upside. So that was my entry. I entered on that. Now my stop, I mean, I'll go through this in a moment, but my stop was below this low. It actually wasn't as low as I wanted it to be, so it was quite risky. I didn't actually realize that I actually wanted it to be on that low. But anyway, as you can see, I entered, price typically come straight back down and almost, very almost, wicked me out of the trade. But this is exactly what stop losses are there for. It's a good example of it. If price come below this level where my stop loss was, it would have invalidated my trade idea. And again, there definitely would have been times previously where I would have put my stop loss on this low, but my trade idea would have been invalidated below this low, so I would have been stopped out there, but I didn't get stopped out here. So that again comes with just doing it, losing a few times where you shouldn't have. These trade recaps, doing them and knowing that you should have put your stop loss a bit lower. But when we did wick below this, we started to move up. Now I needed price to inverse this fair value gap here, because I knew if price was going to go higher and not continue lower, then we definitely needed this to be inversed. I actually marked it out on NASDAQ as well, because NASDAQ was definitely moving a bit more fluent. Where are we? Yeah, here we are. Yeah, so this is the same gap on NASDAQ. Marked that out. We didn't actually inverse the gap at the same time. It actually ended up respecting it, which I was a bit nervous about, but we come down and then we ended up breaking structure and obviously inversing the gap, so it was we were fine at that point. But yeah, the other thing that I do want to point out while I'm on NASDAQ is I was kind of basing my trade on ES whilst watching NASDAQ, because we had more room and more targets to hit on ES, whereas NASDAQ was pretty much trading at all-time high. So we had all-time highs here, NASDAQ was around here, and we only had this little room to work with. Now you'll see that how close London high and all-time high were on NASDAQ. So where's it gone? Lost it. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so with how close they were trading, I thought that this was another reason why I thought price would move quickly, because that is a super strong draw on liquidity. You've got London highs and all-time highs pretty much relatively equal. Now, key thing on my trade on here, so where NASDAQ made this equal high here instead of sweeping it, I didn't move my stop loss on my actual trade. This is so annoying. There we go. Yeah, so where it made this move up, we actually swept London high on ES, but not NASDAQ. And then we made this big move down. Now I would have been stopped out if I took my trade to break even after sweeping London high. I've done that in the past before, but I knew with NASDAQ not sweeping all-time highs and not sweeping London highs that we were most likely just going to come back down, little retest, and then move higher. That is exactly what we did. So when we swept all-time highs on NASDAQ, that's then when I moved my trade to break even. So it would have been on this move up here. Now, unfortunately, we didn't go as high as I wanted. So ES is trading quite a bit below when NASDAQ is. So yeah, I was just targeting this level here. All-time highs were obviously up here. I didn't think it would go as high as that on the day. So what I was wary of that made me move to break even is when NASDAQ swept those all-time highs, but there was a huge potential of an SMT and moving back lower. So that is why I moved my stop loss to break even when NASDAQ swept London and all-time highs, and not when ES just swept London highs. Worked out great for me because, like I say, I would have been taken out here at break even. It allowed me to be in the trade a bit longer. We moved up and then we just consolidated. Now, this red line here, this is eventually where I took my stop loss to. I think when we made this move up here and broke above these highs, that's when I moved my stop loss to just below here, because for me, one thing is we were past 4 o'clock UK time in the session, which is quite late on. I don't really want to be in any trades at this time, and I would never certainly be looking to risk more than I should, or enter any trades at this time. So for me, if price come below this level here, it was going to hit break even anyway. So I thought, you know what, might as well make something from the day. It's not a lot, but might as well make a little bit rather than just being slap bang break even. Now, for a little bit, I was actually just like, I couldn't believe it, because price come below, wicked below this, wouldn't have stopped me out of break even, and then we made a move back up. And I thought, if this goes on to take profit after this, it would have been so annoying. But it didn't, as I expected. It come back down. It would have taken me out break even. So where I would have made literally nothing on the day, I made a little bit across the accounts that just helps top them up. And especially after 3 losses, you'll be surprised on how much that little difference makes. So yeah, that's where I got stopped out. And as you can see, that's what I made across the accounts today. But we still got today being Thursday. Like I say, I'm recapping the following day, but you'll obviously see yesterday's trade. And then so we've got today being Thursday, and we've got tomorrow being Friday left in the week. So definitely more potential to recover and get these accounts back on track. But we will see how those go. This isn't a bad trade, and this is exactly why I'm doing this, and what analysis is good for in your own trades, because there's definitely some positives to take from today's session. Ideally I wouldn't want to stray away from a strategy, so for me that's one thing, but price wasn't delivering my strategy anyway, so you could argue I shouldn't have traded. So there's that, but I'm not mad at my trade. Although it's not the usual strategy, we didn't lose, and while it hasn't lost, I can't be mad at that. If I'd have lost today, probably wouldn't be sat here saying the same thing, but I thought I reacted well to what price was showing me, and used my experience to put me into a trade. My stop loss was good, almost got wicked out, didn't, shows to me that I set a good level, allowed me enough wiggle room within the trade. The bit to work on for me, I think maybe I could have been a bit braver and taken my trade on NASDAQ, which was delivering price a bit better. For me, I personally struggled trading at all-time highs. It's something I'm not particularly used to, especially over the last few months, so it's something I've got to get better at. But looking at price action, probably could have taken a trade on NASDAQ, and potentially one day price was delivering a lot better over there on NASDAQ, so potentially could have done that. But this is again what it's good for, just working out what you did right, what you did wrong, learning from the market, and next time maybe me just looking over this and going through it turns what was a break-even day today could be in future a win. So it's important to do. But yeah, that's today's trade. We've got today and tomorrow. If I do trade tomorrow, you will see that trade on the recap. If I don't, you won't. But yeah, I'll see you when I see you. Thanks for watching. Peace.